Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Tom Worth Jr. And today I have a confession to make. At the end of yesterday's rant, I mentioned that I would not be intending to watch the VP debate last night because I didn't really think it mattered. I already know who these two guys are, and they're VPs, they're not presidents, they have no say in anything. And I had better things to do. Well, as it turns out, I didn't have anything better to do, so I did watch. And I'm glad I did. These guys are who we thought they were. But JD Vance, I think he won the debate in the sense that he could have swayed more people to Trump's side than I think Tim Walz would have. I don't think Tim Walz won many people over to the Dem side. I think those people are already there. The people who are into reasonableness and truthfulness and just all of that kind of stuff. But what JD Vance was able to do, which I'm not a JD Vance expert. I know all the memes are out there. I know he's ridiculous, and I know he just comes across as very unnatural and awkward, and this is what I see in little clips. But he stood up there last night for an hour and a half and lied his butt off in many instances, and was incredibly effortless at it. It was utterly convincing, I thought. If you didn't know any better, if you are the person that these guys were trying to reach last night, if you are the undecided, then you're obviously not the type that's fact checking and looking into actual truth and events and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, you would already be voting for Kamala Harris. If you were on the fence going into last night, then I think you were easily convinced by JD Vance. The dude was, the word of the night seemed to be slick, followed closely by smooth. And I wouldn't say slick. I don't find him slick. I just find him to be an effortless liar. And doing it in a way that doesn't make you hate him if you don't know any better. When Trump stands up there and lies, you're aware of it. You're aware that it's a complete fabrication because you just saw for yourself that he said something totally different, or you just saw a clip preceding his lie. You just saw a clip of something he actually said, and then they'll play him just lying about it, saying he didn't say that, or something to that effect. And it's laughable. With JD Vance last night, that's not the effect that came across, I don't think. He sat up there talking about abortion and women's rights and women's health care, and he sounded like a Democrat. He and Tim Walz were in agreement on things. JD Vance is sitting there showing empathy for these stories that the Democrats always roll out of women who died or something like that as a result of Republican policies making it harder for them to get reproductive health care. And usually Republicans just kind of run away from that or want to change the subject or don't address it. JD Vance just sat there and went right along with it and offered up his own stories, like a Democrat would do, and why these women need this kind of access. And he wholeheartedly agrees with this. And we know he doesn't. We know he, unlike Trump, is actually hardcore pro-life. He is all about the national abortion ban. He is as hardcore as it comes for pro-life. And he just sat there and said he didn't support and has never supported a national ban on abortion. And then, of course, after the fact and all the post game, that's the first thing that's top of everyone's mind is, yeah, you did, and here's the proof, and you were in the Senate, and this is, and your own statements and your own words about this. So he completely just very Trumpian stood up there and lied through his teeth. But he did it in a believable way, if you didn't know any better. And I think people who were going into last night undecided, the fact that they're undecided means they don't know any better, or else they would have jumped off the Republican train a long time ago. So he's really good at that, and I hadn't seen it in person before. The other thing is, I don't think Tim Walz, he wasn't up for the fact checking. He wasn't up for calling him on all of this. And this is unfortunate. This is a built-in advantage for Trump and Vance over Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, is that Trump and Vance, they lie about everything, and you never know what nonsense they are going to spew. I promise you, Tim Walz was not prepared for JD Vance to come out and say he supports women's health care and he feels bad for these women, and yeah, you're right. And I feel that here's my friend who went through all this stuff, and I've never supported a national ban on abortion. Tim Walz was utterly unprepared for that line of lying, I think. Otherwise, he would have challenged it directly and immediately. That's the advantage that liars have over people who tell the truth, is the whole universe is open to you. What are you going to lie about? You have it all there. You can practice your lies in advance. You can sit there in front of a mirror and tell your lie over and over again and have advisors tell you that lie is not convincing enough. Here's what you need to throw in. You know what you're going to lie about. The other side does not. And it would be nice if they had superhuman brains and could prepare for every possible lie you might throw out. And be ready with facts at their disposal. But you can't do that. And Tim Walz certainly was not up to the task on that last night. The one time the moderators did sort of fact check JD Vance, he just looked at them in shock, saying, hey, you're not supposed to fact check. We agreed we're not going to fact check. He couldn't believe that one of his lies was being called, and those were not the ground rules that they agreed to. It was so funny, but he lied about a lot of stuff. And the one thing that Walz was prepared to call him out on was the very end with the January 6th, and that was, to me, the whole issue of this election. And I hope it was for undecideds who may not recall January 6th, just to be reminded that Trump has still never admitted he lost, and that JD Vance last night would not admit that Trump lost. That's all you need to know. Even Hitler lost an election in 1932 Germany. He lost. And the guy who won appointed him chancellor eventually, but Hitler lost running for, I think the office was president of Germany, but the chancellor was right there with it in terms of power. So even Hitler had to take the L, admit that he lost, and bide his time and be appointed again shortly thereafter as chancellor. And Trump will not. Trump's even outdoing Hitler in this regard, just flat out never admitting that he lost, and will not allow JD Vance to admit that he lost. That is why people kind of fear JD Vance. He is a smarter Trump. He's a younger, smarter Trump, and he's better at lying. Trump's lies, he's lying because he's got his whole life. But he does it in a laughable way that might kind of have you take your guard down, because it's just kind of funny and ridiculous, and that people aren't going to believe it. But he still lies all the time. JD Vance, last night, I was sitting there watching with my wife, very pro-life, as am I. And I looked at her and I said, you know, the pro-life wing of the Republican Party they're going to be pissed off because JD Vance is taking the Democrat line where it does need to be up to the states. These women do need protections and healthcare options, and their health does actually matter. That's the Democrat line. It's never been the Republican line. The Republican line isn't ever a we hate women line any more than the Democrat line is ever a we like to kill babies line. That's not what they argue different things. They don't engage in that way. The Republicans say we fight for the rights of the unborn. The Democrats say we fight for the rights of the women who are carrying those unborn. And that's why you never make any progress on this argument. You're not arguing about the same thing because both of those things are inarguable. You need the unborn to have protection. You need the mothers to have protection. It's just that simple. And it's that impossible because you can't have both. You just can't. So I was wondering what the pro-life reaction would be to last night. And I was looking for some specific people. Didn't really find much. But I did see a headline on the Wall Street Journal, which is Rupert Murdoch just as much as Fox News is. And they're very pro-Trump. They used to be pro-business long ago, which was a natural home in the Republican Party, which had pro-business policies. Now they're just pro-Trump. And it's just like the rest of the former Republican wing, and they don't hide it. But this is Wall Street Journal today. Trump commits to vetoing national abortion ban. So this is the big thing, a national abortion ban, because overturning Roe v. Wade took away the national right to abortions. And left it to the states. And Donald Trump has tried to hide behind that. But it's a losing issue. Before I read this Wall Street Journal quick thing, I went to a discussion at SMU a couple nights ago, and it had a Heritage Foundation guy, and it had a UT Austin professor. And it was a discussion of domestic policy under Trump and under Kamala Harris. And it was moderated by someone there at SMU, and thought he did a great job. It didn't get really contentious. It was civil. The room was overwhelmingly Harris, which I did not see coming out of an SMU forum. That's a very conservative university. But this was open to the public and overwhelmingly Harris. And the guy, you know, he's everything you would want from a Trump backer. He is a self-described Trump economic advisor going back to 2016 and still is. And he would tell all the Trump lies and try to get the audience to be on board with, oh, we can all agree on this, right? And the audience would just kind of chuckle or snicker or just, no, we can't all agree on this. That's ridiculous. But one of the things he said later on, he said, if this election is about the economy and about how you are feeling today economically versus how you felt when Trump was in office, now keep in mind he's only talking about pre-COVID Trump term, which COVID should matter and how you handled it. And that's part of the reason why we're in all the debt that we're in now and all the inflation. He said if it only comes down to how you feel economically now versus then Trump wins. And he said, however, if this election is about abortion and about women's rights to health care, then we lose. He said that. And you never hear Trump people say they'll lose on anything. This guy specifically said, if this election is about abortion, we will lose. They know this. That's why they are backtracking on everything. That's why they are completely reversing course. Whatever they say, we can go on what they say, or we can go on what their actions have been and are. It didn't stop with Roe v. Wade overturning. Republican state governments, state legislatures are are locking down the screws tighter than they ever have with access for healthcare for women, and that's not changing. And I was thinking maybe I didn't see any hardcore pro-life words last night because maybe they got assurances ahead of time that, hey, go based on what we do and have done. Don't go based on our words tonight. In fact, you might be better off not watching tonight because we are going to lie through our teeth about this because we'll lose the election if we don't. I could see a conversation like that having taken place. Because the way they came out last night, it sounded very much like the Democrat line. Like they very much respect women's right to health care, and they really feel bad for these people who have to die traveling to deal with complications. The Wall Street Journal this morning, Trump commits to vetoing national abortion ban. He said on social media during the debate that Trump said he would veto a national abortion ban. The first time he is clearly committed to a position that could appease some voters, but is likely to anger his anti-abortion allies. So he is completely throwing them under the bus now, officially, the pro-life people. As I said like a month ago, I said this is what he's doing just to get your votes because unlike JD Vance, he's not actually pro-life. He'll say anything to get your vote. And what we saw last night is that JD Vance will say anything to get your vote. We know he's pro-life, but he sat up there and lied about everything. So he's just like Trump in this regard. Lila Rose, an anti-abortion leader, said on X on Tuesday that she viewed Vance and Trump as, quote, throwing babies under the bus and backing down on life. So they do know that these people are backing down on their protections, at least in word, if not deed. This is what you'll get. You'll get more lying, more election denying. Vance is just younger and smarter than Trump is, and he doesn't have this lifetime of lies and assaults and theft and hate in the way that Trump does. So I think he did Trump's ticket a lot of good last night. That is why they picked him. A lot of people couldn't understand why they picked him, and I kept thinking and kept saying, there's a reason. These people are smart. We haven't seen that reason yet, but we saw it last night, and he did well. Walz, for his part, he's not a good liar. When questioned about some inaccuracies he'd made about his own biographical record, he's just not good at it. He's uncomfortable trying to talk around things. He's better off when he's just straightforward. When he just says, look, I misspoke. He should have just said, I was caught up in the environment. Yes, maybe the Tiananmen Square hadn't happened right then that day, but it was in the air. And I felt that. That's what he should have said. He didn't. He just tried to tap dance around it with his experience in China and how Republicans could be better off if they had experience in China. It's just painful to watch because he can't lie like most politicians, like JD Vance. But he doesn't. I don't know. It was just kind of painful, which I kind of love about him. I like watching people squirming rather than lie. JD Vance, there's no squirming. He looked you straight in the eye and lied his face off last night. And that's JD Vance. And I think he won the night because of that. Anyway, that's it. That's it for today. And we will talk tomorrow.